everyone, I hope you're good today. So in this video I want to show you how you should maintain your accounting. Remember, you're going to write accounting paper 1 and accounting paper 2 when you write your examination. So in this video I want to emphasize a very important notice that most of the students, they don't care about. All right guys, remember, these marks for grade 12, we are going to use them to get the admin or admission when you go to any higher institution that you will need. So firstly, I will start by a student who want to obtain a distinction. Remember, when you are writing paper 1 and paper 2, you have to make sure that both papers you get a good marks, so that at least if there is a chance of you to get a distinction, it will be all right. So I was trying to do some of my calculation on how you should maintain paper 1 and paper 2 in order for you to get a distinction. So firstly, you have to get at least 240 out of 300. Remember, paper 1 it will be 150, paper 2 it will be 150, which means that the total is 300, which means that you must get at least 240 out of 300. Okay, then however, at least on one paper you must get 120 out of 150. If you get that, then you will get a distinction. However, a distinction is not really matter, but you have to earn a good marks. So please make sure that when you write your paper 1, do your best, and also on your paper 2. You don't have to say you prefer the topics for paper 1. You are going to maintain paper 1 and you leave paper 2 behind. Which means that if you leave the other paper behind, it's going to break down the marks that you earn from the other question paper. Please, grade 12, make sure that you maintain all the papers that you are going to write. Okay, so let me start by the issue of time. Remember guys, in accounting, I've been teaching accounting for grade 12 for almost 6 years now. A student have a problem when it comes to time in accounting. So guys, you need to practice everything. You have to master everything so that you will maintain the time that is given. Remember, the time that we are given in accounting is very little. It's very little. 2 hours is not really enough. However, you have to make sure that you practice so that you will be able to maintain the time that will be given. And the other thing, start with the question that you understand most. The one that you think, this one I'm the best on. Please start with that question. Okay, now let's go to a review for paper 1. So what are you going to expect and how you should answer the question on paper 1. Remember guys, in accounting we have what we call it a chocolate mark. We have some question that you know that this question have a lot of chocolate mark. Even though your amount is not correct, however, you are going to get a principal mark that we call it a chocolate mark. Okay, then these are the topics that you are going to deal with when we are approaching a question of paper 1. All right, then number 1 topic, the first topic they said is a transaction analysis and audit report. Remember, when we talk about the audit report, mostly we are talking about a theory question, which means that you are going to analyze a theory that you have to study. Remember guys, in accounting we don't only just calculate, but we have to also answer a theory. Okay, then number 2, they said it's a statement of comprehensive and retaining income note. Then they said it's a 50 marks. Remember, a theory and transaction analysis is only a 20 marks. So guys, this is a structure that you have to know, and you also have to know that audit report will never come with 50 marks. Never. It will never happen. So a marks allocation, this is how you should study. Where there is a higher marks allocation, you have to master in and out that topic, because they are not going to change the structure on how the mark allocation will be look like. All right, let's talk about the question 2, which is statement of comprehensive income, which is also known as income statement and retained income note. Guys, as you know that we don't we have different types of financial statement. It's either they bring the income statement or they bring a balance sheet. So when you started this topic, you also have to know that you don't only have to focus on the income statement because it was previously a part of the question. Also maintain the balance sheet. Remember, this is the question for 2021. You never know what is coming on 2022. It's either they change or they bring the similar question. Please don't try to claim only one question. Make sure that you maintain both of them. Then number 3 is a financial indicator and cash flow statement. Okay, then the allocation marks is only 35 marks. Alright, remember, as you are writing out of 150, which means that a financial statement will contain a lot of marks. However, they have to left the space for other topics, which means that the other topics will not be able to in a higher marks allocation, because a financial statement already in a lot of marks. Okay, then under a financial indicators, guys, as you know, your formulas will be provided. What we have to know is just to check on the previous question paper on how they answer financial indicators, how they calculated financial indicators. I have videos that I did which I was doing financial indicators as well as the cash flow statement. Okay, then number 4, interpretation of financial statement and corporate governance. Okay, let's look at this question in detail. Question 1, remember, it's only 20 marks. Then it's a multiple choice, guys. Remember, for multiple choice, let me give you example. Number 1, they said a concept of limited or unlimited, you have to choose one. Liability ensure that the shareholders are not responsible for debt of the business in the event of bankrupt. Okay, you know that in this one is limited, because when we talk about limited companies, if the company fall into a debt, the owners are not going to be in trouble. But guys, when you study, don't come to the question and claim the answer. What you have to do, go and research about the limited companies and unlimited. What is the meaning between these two? That's what you have to do. Okay, then question 1.2, when preparing financial statement, creditors will be reflected as a trade and other. Is a receivable, payable, or equity. You know that creditors is liabilities, and when we refer to the liability, it can be receivable, it can be equity, but it will be a payable. Guys, remember, if you take this question, you have to know your balance sheet. Know the format of a balance sheet, know what's belong under receivable, know everything that belong under payable, know everything that belong under equity, so that you will be able to answer any question that they're going to set. Okay, and let's go to the other question and review how you should study the other question. Okay, they required us to do accounting equation. Okay, then they give us example, then they give us transaction number 1, 2, and 3 only. So these 3 transactions have 9 marks. So what you have to know about accounting equation, guys, is that you must be able to pick at least 2 elements. When we talk about elements, for example, under assets, we have non-current assets, which under non-current assets we have PPE items like vehicle, land and building, and so on and so on. Those are the component. You must be able to pick two component. Why two component? Because one must be debited and one must be credited. Okay, let's check number 2.1 and do the example. They said the electronic fund transfer, that is EFT, totaling 136 were made to shareholders, being amount owing to them at the end of the previous financial year. We have to pick two, guys. Two component. Okay, the first component, of course, it will be a bank. Why bank? Because they did EFT, electronic fund transfer, which means that there's a bank. Now the question is, did we pay as a company or did we receive money? Okay, in this case, we pay the shareholders, which means that our asset is going to do what? To decrease, which means that a bank is going to be credited, which means that now we're left with a debit side. Okay, now we have to identify the second component. Remember, they said the payment we made to a shareholder. Remember, they said on the previous year we were owing shareholders dividends. We call it shareholders for dividends. Last year we recognized the liability of shareholders for dividends. Now we have to show that we have paid that liability, which means that we have to reduce liability by the debit side. Then we write shareholders for dividends. Simple as that. That's what you have to do, guys, when you do accounting equation. So each and every transaction, make sure that you pick two components. Okay, let's do review for other question. We have a independent audit report. Then they said identify type of audit report that company receive and give a reason. Remember, we have three different types of report. So guys, please make sure that you go and read all those different types of report. Don't cram the one that has been previous asked. Read three of them and understand how do they apply. Qualified report, unqualified report, and so on and so on. Make sure that you understand them. Okay, then okay, then 3.1.3.2, you are answering is a follow-up question from what you answered from 1.3.1. Okay, let's just review other question. That's a little theory that you have to know, guys, when it come to financial statement. Okay, question 2, they said a statement of comprehensive income and retained income note. Okay, then it's a 50 marks. So this is the question that I was talking about for income statement. Okay, then required number 2.1, they said calculate the value of closing stock on 28 February 2021 using a weighted method. For this one, of course, you have to know inventory. This 2.1 is fall under inventory, where you have to calculate using the weighted average method, where you say the total divided by the number of units, then you multiply by the closing inventory units. Okay, it's a 5 marks for that. Okay, then question 2.2, complete the statement of comprehensive income for the year ended 28 February 2021. Guys, when you prepare the income statement, please make sure that you are able to read a month. You have to know when your period started and when your period ended. When we prepare financial statement or income statement, we have to prepare for only 12 months. We prepare for only 12 months. Please, when you prepare income statement, guys, go and revise the principle of matching concept, because it's the one that we are going to apply most under income statement. The principle said you have to record only a transaction for 12 months. If they recorded 13 months, this is income received in advance or prepaid expense. You must subtract a 1 month so that we're left with a 12. If they recorded 11 months, we call it accrued expense or accrued income. You have to add to make them 12. That's what you have to do under income statement. Okay, number 2.3, we have to prepare a retaining income note. Guys, I want to emphasize something about retaining income note. There is a lot of chocolate mark here. Why? Because remember, the profit for the year that you are going to calculate or that you are going to include under retaining income is coming from income statement, which means that of course they know that you might do one mistake under income statement and you won't be able to determine a correct profit for the year, which means that there's a chocolate mark. Of course, please make sure that you don't left anything under retaining income notes, and make sure that you know the format of retaining income. Where do we start and what is the last part of retaining income? We start with opening and we end with the closing, and we also have dividends, we also have profit for the year. You have to know all those so that you will be able to in a chocolate mark. Out of 8 marks, you will find that 4 marks is coming from a chocolate mark. Please make sure that you do that. Okay, let's take the transaction for under review for this one. Okay, we have additional information. They say the extract from the pre-adjustment trial balance. They give us the balance sheet account section, and they give us nominal account section. You will know that under a nominal account section, these are the balances that we are going to use when we do income statement. Okay, then they say the markup achieved is 160 on cost, and the correct gross profit is 14 million, which means that you have to use 160% to calculate your cost of sales and your sales. Remember, it's not given, which means that in order for you to get the cost of sales, you have to say 140, 14,881 and 600 multiplied by 100 over 160, then you get the cost of sales, and after that you do a subtracting or you do adding so that you will get the sales amount. Okay, then they said the packing material used the financial year was 39,000. Okay, it's going to be expense, of course. Then they said received and recorded 9,750 from insolvency estate from a debtor which paid 65 cents in the rent. Then the remaining out amount must be written off. Of course, we have to calculate the bad debts. 9,750 multiplied by remaining out of 65 that he paid, which means that we are going to write off 85 cents of each rent. It's 9,750 multiplied by 35 cents. Okay, then adjust a provision for bad debts to 9,350. Alright, of course, in this question we have to do a calculation for provision for bad debts and check whether it's an income or expense. If you check, a provision for bad debts was 9,800. Now it has been adjusted to 9,350. If you check in this case, it has decreased. If it decreased, it's an income because we no longer have a lot of people that we are doubting that they are going to pay us. Okay, then okay, we have a net salary and so on and so on and so on. Remember, under income statement we have to record a net salary. Then employees contribution is going to form part of liability as well. Okay, let me quickly go to the other question. So guys, remember, I'm going to do all this question into a detail. So if you check on my videos, you will find that I have a lot of videos that I have prepared for you guys when you go to write exam. Okay, financial indicators and cash flow statement, 35 marks. We have debt equity ratio, net assets value per share, dividends payout. Right, guys, remember on the syllabus that you are doing now, there's no marks for formula. Why? Because it's given on your paper, which means that what you have to know under financial indicators is that there's no marks under a formula. Only calculation, if you get it right, you're going to earn a marks. You have to take note of that. So this question I already done it. Please take it on my video list. You will find the answers for question 3. Okay, then cash flow statement. Okay, the first part they said we have to prepare the change in receivable and change in payable. Guys, I want to emphasize this. As we know that under cash flow statement, under receivable, payable, and inventory, we just subtract the difference between the last year amount and the current year amount. However, guys, I want to emphasize that in order for you to earn 3 marks, don't just subtract. Indicate whether it's an inflow or outflow, because that's where you will earn a 3 marks. If you don't indicate whether it's inflow or outflow and you just write a positive amount, they gonna assume that it's either they assume that it's an inflow or they don't give you a marks at all. Please make sure that you indicate that. Okay, then 3.3 they say calculate the following figures for cash flow statement. Then we have a taxation paid, dividends paid, proceed. Okay, for this question I did it. Please check it on my video list so that you will be able to answer this question. Okay, this is the information that we are going to use. Okay, let's move to the last question. Okay, the last question is a interpretation. Once they said interpretation, guys, you have to know that you are going to deal with a theory. I know that most of you guys who are doing accounting, you don't love a theory at all. What you have to know is that 45% of the question paper that you're going to write, it will be a theory. So please don't lose these marks, because if you want a distinction, of course, you have to in a single mark that you're going to face. Each and every single mark that you're going to face, you have to make sure that you get something. Okay, then number 4.1 is a multiple choice, guys. Then the keywords that you have to study: go and read executive director, non-executive director, and delinquent director. Go and read the meaning of those words so that you will be able to know the explanation, because they are not going to repeat the same explanation that they did on this question paper. Go and understand them so that you will do what? You will be able to answer the question. Okay, let's try to go through this one quickly. Then the executive director, we have to look the side and check if we have the matching one. Member of the board but not responsible for daily management function. For this one, of course, is a non-executive director. Then they said member of board who has management responsibility. This one is executive director. Then the last one, of course, is delinquent director, that has been found guilty on a serious misconduct. Okay, let's move on. This is the information that you are going to use to analyze all those questions that they're going to do. So guys, lastly, I want to emphasize that please, guys, don't avoid the theory in accounting. Don't avoid a theory, because they're going to ask about it. And what you have to know is that this theory stay the same. Compare the previous papers that we have as many as possible. You will find that the principle are surrounding on one things. They just change the scenario, but the principle is the same. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. So please make sure that you go through my videos. I did a lot of videos for grade 12 for your examination preparation, and make sure that you subscribe, because I'm going to upload as many videos as possible so that I'm gonna prepare you guys to in a good marks. Thank you so much. See you on the next video.